Suffering is bad. Sentient beings spend the rest of their lives trying to avoid suffering. There isn't a sentient being that actually wants to suffer. Suffering does not build character. Suffering destroys character. A lot of people who have suffered in their lives, I'm talking about people who have truly suffered, they are broken. They don't even know how to function anymore because of what they have went through. All right? Suffering does not build character. Don't let people lie to you. Hey, suffering builds character. No, suffering doesn't build character. Suffering destroys character. All right? There are people who don't even know how to be happy anymore because they've suffered so much in their lives that even when things change, they still can't experience happiness because they've been through a lot. Like, they are so damn traumatized. There's a reason why American soldiers who fought for freedom of Americans end up homeless, end up unaliving themselves. They're traumatized because they've went through a lot. They've seen things that humans shouldn't see. They've unalived people. You know what I mean? They're traumatized. They can't function properly. So don't tell me suffering builds character. Suffering destroys character. All right? Suffering destroys character. There's a reason why sentient beings spend their lives trying to avoid suffering. Yes, sometimes we do choose to suffer, but we only choose to suffer because we know that if we don't choose to suffer, we'll suffer more. Like, sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we have to choose our suffering. Be like, okay, I can suffer if I do this, I can also suffer if I do this. So, okay, maybe let me do this. You know I might suffer, but I might suffer less, compared to how I would suffer if I did this. But sentient beings do not want to suffer. We live in a world where we actually suffer for being right. We actually suffer for being intelligent, for being smart, for being aware, for being conscious. A lot of people do not realize that. We live in a world where if you are going to be smart, you are going to be punished for being smart. Slaves that were smart were punished, right? Oh, you're reading books? Who taught you how to read books? Oh, you are a deep thinker. Who taught you how to be a deep thinker? Oh, you're a philosopher? There's a reason why people play dumb and they believe that playing dumb is actually better than playing smart. As you know what happens when people play dumb? They actually end up becoming dumb. Right? They can see what's going on. They're conscious enough to see what's going on, but like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna choose to ignore, all the bad things that are going on here. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna focus on what I can get. I'm just gonna focus on the price. That's it. I'm not gonna try to fix any problem that we have. I'm just gonna focus on the price. What happens? No problem gets fixed. People can see that they're not being treated right. Like, all right, it is what it is. I'm just gonna try to get to the top. That's it. I know that I'll be safe at the top because people who could actually change things will not be able to change things because this society doesn't reward people for being smart. This society doesn't reward people for being right. If you're going to be smart, you are going to be punished for being smart. It's not like human beings were born dumb. No. Kids are smart, bro. Kids are smart. I'm telling you, kids are smart. But adults ain't smart. No, kids value freedom. Kids want to do their own thing. Kids think rationally. That's something that I've realized. You see, some of you are traumatized because you were super intelligent when you were young and your parents weren't intelligent at all. And they didn't understand you because you were super intelligent. Because they had to survive by being stupid, by playing dumb, right? So they on a subconscious level, they think that being smart is a bad thing, right? They don't even think that being smart is actually being smart, right? Like that's a bad thing because it doesn't work. You know, to them it's about survival. Like, no, you can't be smart. No, you can't speak the truth. Remember, those who spoke the truth in the past, you know, bad things happen to them. So why are you trying to be smart? Don't be smart. You just gotta be like me. We live in a society where we are being taught how to survive, and this society doesn't want us to be smart. So, because society doesn't want us to be smart, it made it hard for smart people to survive. So people are becoming dumb so that they will survive. You see? That is why we are not evolving. You see, we live in a society that doesn't reward true intelligence. We live in a society that rewards obedience, right? People think that obedience is intelligence. No, not even close. That's not intelligence at all, right? Obedience is not intelligence. You deciding that you're going to obey someone just because they're in a position of power, that's not intelligence. You obey those who are right. That's intelligence. You see, there's nothing wrong with obedience, but obey those who are right. If you obey those who are wrong, that's not intelligence. You're just trying to survive. Because the people who become powerful in this world do not want you to be powerful, is it? You are a threat. You gotta understand that. You are a threat. If you're intelligent, you are a threat. And they know that. They feel uncomfortable when they see someone who's truly intelligent. Think about it. Like if you live in a village and you were like a king in that village, and there was this kid that you can see that this kid is super intelligent. Like this kid can really change things. Would you allow that kid to rise? Human beings are selfish, bro. That's what you gotta understand. Human beings are selfish. They're not gonna allow that kid to rise. They might put system in place to kind of like keep that kid, you know, under. Because, well, they have power. So they're like, hey, let me use my power to make sure that this kid doesn't thrive. Now people think that obedience is intelligence. You know, I've made it because I obey. I follow rules. You know what I mean? You know, people even believe that the rules that they follow means that, you know, they're right. Right? Like they have a false sense of morality. Like they don't really know right from wrong. They just feel like what's right is following those who are in power. What's right is to obey, right? Like, I gotta obey. That's what's right, because that's what works. You see, I'm being rewarded for obeying, so that means that is what is right. That means that is what works, and they're right to think that is what works, because that is really what works. But they are wrong to think that is intelligence. They are wrong to think that they are actually doing the right thing. I try my best to not be stupid. I've told myself, since I was a little kid, I would tell myself that, hey, I would rather suffer for being right than to suffer for being wrong. I would rather suffer for being smart than to suffer for being stupid. To me, truth really does matter. I don't think people understand how much I value truth, bro. Like, I would rather lose everything than to live in a false reality, right? I want the truth. In every situation, I want the truth. I want truth more than I want happiness. In fact, truth is what makes me happy. Even if it's not the truth that I would prefer, but knowing the truth really does make me happy. In any situation. Sometimes I feel like I'm some kind of a psycho, because I know human beings saying like that. Like, trust me, like, if I can know the truth, I'll be alright. Like, truth set me free in any situation that I've ever been in life, where I was feeling better, I was feeling good because of lies. Truth made me feel better. I mean, sometimes truth might not make you feel better right away, but after some time you realize that, yeah, truth always makes you feel better. Knowing what is actually going on make me feel better than believing a beautiful lie. You see, some people just want to believe beautiful lies, bro. That's why we have many religious people in this matrix, bro. Damn, this looks good. Like, this gotta be like my thumbnail. Someone is gonna say, I'm throwing like Illuminati hand signs. I'd rather suffer for being right than to suffer for being wrong. I'd rather suffer for being smart than to suffer for being stupid. I do not regret suffering for being right. I've never in my life regretted suffering for being right, but I've regretted suffering for being wrong. When I do stupid shit and bad things happen, dude, I was stressed. I would not sleep, bruh. I will not sleep. Like, damn, why did I do that? I mean, like, it was obvious what I needed to do, but I still chose to do something stupid. Like, I'll regret that forever. But if I do something right and then I suffer, I'm gonna suffer, but there's gonna be no regrets. So I heal faster, and yeah, I would have this feeling that, yeah, even if I had to go back to the past, I wouldn't change anything, because this really is the right thing to do. I'm not gonna be like, no, I gotta do things differently because that didn't work. Like, no, the truth, like, I want the truth. So if I do something that is real and I get negative results, the truth is that in that situation, there was no intellectual honesty. That is why truth resulted in something negative, right? Like, maybe people have lied to themselves a lot in that kind of a situation. So me speaking the truth resulted in something bad happening because of the lies that people have told themselves. Like, let me give you a simple example of this. My cousin used to give me this advice. He's like, bro, when you get a new girlfriend, never talk about religion. I'll be like, yeah, that's actually good advice. Like, I mean, I've realized that every girl where I live is a Christian. Of course, if I'm just gonna be like, hey, you know, Christianity is not true at all, she's gonna think that I got demons. So I was like, yeah, actually, that's good. Maybe it's not a good thing to talk about this kind of stuff. And I was like, even if she asks you if you go to church, don't tell her the truth. I was like, nah, man, no fucking way. Like, there's a difference between not talking about something and lying. Like, nah. And I have been in situations where I've lost, like, where I didn't, like, where I was supposed to have a good relationship with someone and I didn't get to have a good relationship with that person. Like, many situations. I've had situations where girls would literally like want to be with me for real. I'm not like, I mean, like, a girl really wants to be with you. Even like that day, she wants to be with you. She just wants to spend the night with you. And she starts talking about Christianity, and I know she wants to spend the night with me, and we're good, we're connecting, and I'll tell her the truth. Like, but like, yeah, why do you think Christianity is true? Like, I can't help it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna speak the truth. Why do you think Christianity is true? And she start telling me, but like, don't you ever feel like it's possible that it might not be true? You know, this and that. I've actually found I remember this other day I was drunk. This other girl, you know, she wanted to go home with me. We were good, me and her. She was buying her own alcohol. She was like, I want nothing from you, you know, but please don't leave without telling me. Cool. Then she started to bring this topic of Jesus, and because we're connecting a lot, so we're talking about many things, you know. And I spoke the truth, and she got angry. I remember she was telling her friend that I have demons. You know, I heard her telling her friend that I have demons because I didn't hold back. You know, I wasn't like, you know, let me just have sex with her, and that's like, nah. I'm still gonna speak the truth. If I think something is not true, I'm not gonna lie. That's the type of person that I am. You know, like, I would rather lose everything than sell my soul. That's the type of person that I am for real. And I think that is what is actually making it easier for me to become more conscious, because I'm not willing to lie to myself to get what I want. I want to be real all the time, and me being real all the time makes it easy for me to evolve, right? I think the real problem, a lot of people think the real problem is that there are people who are at the top who are controlling us and all that. The real problem is that we're too stupid as people. Like, that's the real problem. Because we have been rewarded for being stupid. We've been rewarded for a long time for being stupid. We think that being stupid is cool, right? We think that being stupid is a flex. Doing everything that we're told, that's a flex, because that's what works. Following rules that don't make sense, that's a flex, because that works, right? This reminds me of my favorite joke from Joe Rogan. I think Joe Rogan is a very underrated stand-up comedian, because his stand-up actually made me laugh the most. You know, I love Dave Chappelle, I love Chris Rock, I love Kevin, I love Cat Williams, I love Louis C.K. No, a lot of comedians. Like, I love comedians. But Joe Rogan, like, his stand-up, like, make me laugh, like, the most. You know, like, I laugh out loud. So yeah, there's this joke that he made about some guy that broke into the White House years ago. He was like, yeah, because a lot of people think that there's a grand conspiracy. There's a cabal of evil geniuses that are pulling strings on everyone in America. But it's most likely that people are just dumb as fuck. Like, yeah, we always gotta say, hey, there's aliens that are controlling everything, there's reptilians, hey, there's secret societies. But what if the real problem is that people are just dumb? So we don't want to accept that people are just dumb, that we always be telling us all this, because like we don't know these things for sure. You know what I mean? It's like we don't want to accept that with them now. There are secret societies, right? You know, a lot of what we've been told about this world isn't true. But I think the real problem is that people just don't think, bruh. Like if people were able to think the way that they should think, I'm telling you, we will change this world. Like, we'll change this world in a blink of an eye. Like, people just don't think, bruh. They don't make the right decisions. That's the problem. We do not make the right decisions. We're so easy to control. We're so easy to manipulate. That's the real problem. Why wouldn't they manipulate us? Think about it. If, I've given you this example before, that if you were a king in a village and there was this smart kid that you say that this one is going to become king, wouldn't you do some shit to kind of like make sure that doesn't happen? You know how you are as a human, bro. That's how we are. So we gotta stop like blaming these people at the top as if we wouldn't be like them if we found ourselves where they are. And start making the right decisions as people. You know, stop being stupid. You know, we need to refuse to be stupid. And even if those people are more evil than we are, us obeying these people says a lot about us, right? Even if they're more evil than we could ever be, but us obeying these people says a lot about us. There's a reason why if you like find yourself competing with someone, you want to win, right? It's not like you just be like, I want that person to win. This is what it is. You want to be at the top. Always, you want to be at the top. So that feeling that makes you want to be at the top is the same feeling that makes them want to manipulate you, keep the truth away from you, lie to you about your history, manipulate you in so many different ways. You know, using religion, using school, media, music. And it's up to you to wake up. It's up to you to make the right decisions than to just be stupid and just blame these people as if they were supposed to be your heroes. Like, they were supposed to help you. Like, yeah, the government, this and that. What do you expect? They're just people who found themselves at the top and are controlling everything. What do you expect? You know, those people are not Jesuses, all right? They're not the messiahs. They're just humans who found themselves at the top and they were doing a lot of messed up things to even get there. So what do you expect? That means that as a human, you gotta be smart. As we find ourselves being controlled by few people, bro. I remember this other day I was having a conversation with someone about, because like the village where I'm from, there's it's hard to get water, bro. Sometimes we can go for like weeks without water. I was like, one of the biggest problems is that we're just not smart, bro. Think about it. Let's say, as like the village where I'm from, like there's many people. There's like more than maybe 1,000 stands, right? With like each household like has like maybe 4 or 5, more than 5 people. So I was like, you know, what if we decided right now as a village that each and every house has to like every month, each and every house has to, invest 100 rand. 100 rand is like $5-6. Like each and every house has to put 100 rand. Like we have to kind of like we have to save money, right? So every house has to like save 100 rand. We're talking about like more than 1,000 stands. How much will we be having in like a year? 1,000 is how much? It's 100,000, right? So if we have more than 1,000 stands, that means we'll be having like 1 million. Do you think we'll not be able to solve our water problem? But we're still waiting for the government. We've been having this problem forever. Since I was born, we've been having this problem. In fact, you'd need to go to go very far to with a wheelbarrow, pushing like a wheelbarrow, all right, to get water. You'll be tired as fuck at the time you get home. You find that the water is like 4 kilometers away from where you live, and you have to be pushing this heavy wheelbarrow with jars for like, nah, man. We just don't think right as people. We don't respect the people who give us the truth. When people tell us the truth, we act like these people are crazy and then realize that they were right when it's too late. It's one of my biggest problems. You see, we realize that the people who were real, who were right when it's too late. That says a lot about us. Why is it that we allow ourselves to be fooled all the damn time? Women, when they've been through a lot, that's when they want the guys who actually love them and who would have stayed. After they've made too many mistakes, this is when they'll be like, yeah, maybe that's the right guy for me. And then guys be like, nah, no, she only wants me now because she has 3 kids. And that might seem true, but there's more to it. Like, yeah, she wants you because she has 3 kids, but she's also lying, right? She realized that she was wrong, about a lot of things. But then again, I do understand how you'd feel like that as a guy. Because if you've been like a good guy, if you have been a guy with good intentions all along, and you find women are loving the guys that don't have good intentions, like as a guy, because right? You're like, damn, man, this house, when it comes to this kind of guys, they're very agreeable, right? When it comes to me, even though I have good intentions, they're not. That kind of creates some anger in you, right? And then when you get older, you become successful, and then these women want to settle down now. They want you. You're like, nah, fuck out. Yeah, you just feel like they just want to use you, and you have every right to feel that way. But the point that I'm trying to make is that we realize the truth when it's too late. That is the problem. We realize the truth when it's too late. It's like we never see things as they are, especially in situations where we are not being lied to, in situations where we're not being manipulated. We've been programmed to be fooled. You know what I mean? Just like I was telling y'all, that being smart is a bad thing in our society. So people just want to be idiots, right? That is why the people who are at the top are people who are manipulating other people. It's because we have been programmed since we're little to respond better to manipulation than to truth, to respond better to lies than reality. To obey those who want to use us than to obey those who have our best interest at heart. That's how we ended up with this kind of society that we've ended up with. So who should we blame for relationships not working? Let's be real now, because relationships now are not working. Who do we blame? We blame the government too. Men and women don't love each other anymore. Who do we blame? What happens is women will choose the wrong guys, and then later on in their lives they're mad at all the men. And even when they find the right guys, one of the mistakes that they make is that they don't treat them right because of how they've been treated in the past. So what happens is the guys become more angry that have, decided to be like, you know what, I'm gonna give these women a second chance. Boom, they become angry because they know they're not being treated right. They know that these women used to treat the men that they were competing with better than they're treating them. Who's really to blame? Who's really to blame when you speak the truth and people say that you're crazy, and then someone lies to them and they respect that person? Who's to blame? Do you blame the government? Yeah, it's the government. Yeah, it's the reptilians. Nah. Maybe people are just dumb as fuck. Yes. There are secret societies. I mean, that's something that we know. But what if these secret societies are not even that powerful? The real problem is that people are just dumb. Right? Just because there are secret societies doesn't mean that they are powerful. Just because there are aliens that are doing whatever they're doing, controllers, that doesn't mean that they're powerful. The real problem is that people are just stupid. They just don't think right. They're so damn easy to control. They're weak. That's the real problem. And they do not realize that they are weak. They don't realize that they are stupid. In South Africa, there's been so many fake prophets, bro, that have made millions. I'm talking millions. They're rich. They're set for life. Performing fake miracles. David Blaine performed tricks that I had to figure out. Like, damn, how did he do that? These prophets, they're not magicians at all. Like, they can't perform magic. Like, like in the street, they can't perform magic. They just make these people believe that whatever they do is real, right? So even if it seems fake, it's real. They don't have to, work very hard to like make their tricks seem more, believable. Nah, they don't have to work hard. I remember when these fake prophets started dominating in our country, a lot of pastors who believed themselves to be real, pastors who were not performing fake miracles, they were mad, bro. They were mad because what will happen is that, women will leave their churches and go to these fake prophets and give them real, like a lot of money to get healed. Maybe buy, anointed water, anointed oil, And then they go back to their churches when things don't work out, and they don't even treat their pastors the way that they treat these prophets. So their pastors will be mad. The same thing with how, like, women treating, guys who don't love them better than they treat guys who love them, because these guys who don't love them lie better than the guys who love them. So that's reality. So who do we really blame? Do we blame these fake prophets? Do we blame the government? Or we blame ourselves? We need to take personal responsibility. That as people who are making stupid decisions, and that leads to suffering. You see, as people who are making stupid decisions, and that actually leads to suffering. We are afraid to suffer for being right. We are afraid to suffer for being warriors. We are cowards. And we do not want to take responsibility for our actions. We do nothing when we see bad things happening. I remember there's this other video that I watched a couple of years ago that made me lose hope in humanity. So, in Johannesburg, people get robbed a lot. So these 4 guys decided to rob this guy during the day. They robbed this guy, and he was fighting back in front of people who were there were many people who were passing by who saw him. This other person was actually recording what was happening on their phone. No one helped. People just watched the guy get robbed. And the guy that robbed this guy didn't even have like a knife or a gun or anything. Like, they just robbed the guy and ran away. I was like, there's no way that I would have chosen to be here, bro. Like, no fucking way. Like, this is this is idiocracy, all right? We're allowing that shit to happen. People be getting robbed every day in Joburg. People are doing nothing. They're not protecting, one another. Like, yeah, they caught you, that's it. It reminds me of like animals when they are being chased by lions, like buffaloes being chased by lions, not doing anything. They just run away. It's every buffalo for itself. They don't even realize that if they ganged up against these lions, they will win. I mean, even one buffalo can actually kill a lion, bro. Like, buffaloes are tough as fuck. I've seen a buffalo kill a lion. Just one buffalo. So, imagine if buffaloes were actually intelligent and they decided to like protect themselves against lions. Lions wouldn't be able to do anything. They would be scared, all right? They would really be scared. But no, humans choose to be stupid. They don't choose to be courageous. They don't choose to be warriors. They don't choose to be intelligent. They just watch. At least when women are being robbed, niggas are gonna do something. Because this is how we've been programmed. There's nothing wrong with that, that's a good thing. But yeah, we've been programmed as men to protect women, not to protect other men, And that's fucked up, because there are many situations where even men need to be protected from women, right? Like, there are situations where men need to be protected from women, and niggas be choosing the side of women. Like, yeah, no, women are always right. Women are always right. Men you cannot do that as a man. No matter what, you cannot do that as a man. Women are always right. But yeah, it's good that we protect women, because women are not as strong as we are physically. So that's a good thing. But we must also protect men. We must also protect ourselves. That's how we build a better society. So I think, people, being afraid to be intelligent, people being afraid to be brave, that's what has led into the mess that we are, in today. And, people need to be real. Like, you have to be real. You have to stop living a lie. It doesn't help. It doesn't take us anywhere. It doesn't take you anywhere. Rather, suffer for being right. Trust me, you're going to be proud of yourself in the end. Even though suffering is not a flex, it sucks that people suffer, because they end up being traumatized, end up not being able to be happy no matter what happens in their lives, end up becoming cold. Like when you suffer for real, man, you end up becoming cold. People look at you and realize that this person is cold. This person doesn't even feel anymore. You've suffered so much that you don't even feel anymore. You're desensitized. I don't even cry anymore. You know, messed up things happen and they tell you about these things and you feel nothing. You see, have you ever been in that situation where something bad happens and they tell you about it and you feel nothing? And you know, when you were younger, you used to feel something when this kind of things happen, but you feel nothing. You've been through so much that no matter what happens, it's nothing. Like, that's not good, bruh, because you can't even experience happiness. It means that you became numb, all right? You became so damn numb. And you had no choice. You had to become numb. You know, you're going to have a heart attack because life was treating you so badly that, I mean, there was nothing, like, it's your own, you becoming numb is your own brain actually protecting you. Because you've experienced so much hell that is like, okay, you just gotta be numb now, because what else can we do? You know, life always treats us badly. You know, even if we try to do the right things, even if we try to make the right decisions, you know, no matter how smart we become, because that's the thing, like, suffering can make you smart. That's the thing. But then, because in this realm, people do not suffer because they're dumb, they'll suffer more when they're smart, so they end up becoming numb. You see? It's not like people who are suffering because they're just dumb. I mean, people are really suffering. I mean, if you're just gonna be dumb, yes, you suffer for being dumb, but you suffer for being dumb while you're driving a dope car. You know, you're living in a nice house. But usually people who suffer for being smart, they suffer for being smart while living in the street, you know. But in the end, they do find peace. You know, in the end, they do realize what is, you know, what kind of world do we actually live in. So even if things don't end up working out for them, they do realize, you know, what kind of world we actually live in, and they try to make better decisions for themselves. You know, they are able to make decisions that actually lead to like good things happening in the future, than people who choose to play dumb and actually become dumb because they actually end up perpetuating suffering without even realizing that they're perpetuating suffering. That's why you can't have deep philosophical conversations with some people, bruh, because you'd think that people who are successful are supposed to be smarter than people who are not successful, and then you have a conversation with these people and you're like, what the fuck? What's going on here? Like, I thought this person is supposed to be smart. Like, they got a lot of money, they have all these cars, but what's going on? And you realize that now they had to play dumb. They had to play dumb. That being dumb actually became cool, so they actually became dumb. You know, if you play a role for too long, it end up not being a role anymore. You end up becoming the character that you are playing. It reminds me of this episode of South Park where Eric Cartman was, you know, pretending to have like Tourette syndrome. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but there were kids that I remember I was watching TV the other day, and there was this kid that couldn't control it. Like, she wouldn't control what she would say. She would sometimes say "fuck" out of nowhere, and he would, and people will not respond negatively because they were like, she has this problem, so they understood that. So Catman was like, damn. So you're telling me that I can curse and not be punished for cursing? So he decided to start cursing at his house, and his mom decided to take him to see a doctor. She told the doctor that, hey, he's been cursing. What's going on? And then the doctor diagnosed him with Tourette syndrome, and they told the whole school that Catman has Tourette syndrome, and he went to school cursing at everyone. Cursing at the principal, cursing at his friend, cursing at the people that he hates. But like, Windy, you dumb. Okay, I'm not supposed to say that on YouTube, so I might have to censor that. But it ended up, like, it got to a point where he couldn't control his tics anymore. Like, it got to a point where he was not faking anymore. So that's the thing. Like, people have been playing dumb for too long that they're not even faking anymore. They are actually dumb. You see the problem? They've been playing dumb for too long that they are no longer faking. They are actually dumb. So it is better to play smart because you become smarter, right? Human beings weren't supposed to be like this, bruh. We're supposed to be real. We're supposed to be honest. We're supposed to not allow people to lie to us, people to manipulate us. It has gotten to a point where we started to devolve, right? Not evolve. We weren't even capable of understanding truth, right? There's a reason why in black communities in America, people are not even respected when they've been raised by both parents. So, you remember what Eminem said in a battle with in the 8 Mile battle, like when he was battling, what that guy's name, Clarence. It was like, yeah, his real name is Clarence, and Clarence was raised by both parents. He went to private school, blah blah blah, and that seemed like that was bad, right? Like, this guy is not a gangster. His real name is Clarence, and Clarence was raised by both parents. Like, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that he was raised by both parents. But it's gotten to a point, like, where as a society we don't appreciate what is actually good. We appreciate what is bad. That's why Chris Rock said, in black communities, you are actually respected more for coming out of jail than getting a qualification at school. Like, I mean, yeah, I kind of get that, but still, it's not like unaliving people and ending up in jail. That's a good thing, I watch battle rap a lot, and I hear a lot of black rappers talking about how they've been raised, talking about selling illegal stuff in order to make it and all that, and the crowd be cheering like, yeah, you're a real G because you did this, you did that, you know what I mean? And if you make a mistake or if you talk shit about me, I'm gonna do this to you, and that, people be cheering and cheering. Like, nah, that's not dope. That's a sign that we're not evolving. We're not supposed to be cheering for people who are doing messed up things. We're supposed to be cheering for people who are actually taking us somewhere, because we don't want kids to grow up in a messed up environment. You see? I'm using like black communities as an example, but it's just how it's happening. It is everywhere, everywhere it's like that. We kind of like support people for doing the wrong things, for being bad, for doing things that are destructive to get what they want. We reward these people, right? We respect these people. And people who are doing the right things, people who are actually strong, because people who are doing the right things, these are people who are actually strong. It's not like it's hard to do messed up things to make it. You know how easy that is? Some people might think, hey, you're just a coward for not wanting to do the wrong things to make it. Like, I'm just too damn conscious, too damn intellectually honest that I'm not even gonna feel good, getting what I want by doing things that I do not want to do. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. So that's actually being strong. You know, being weak is being so tempted by the things of this world that you're willing to do anything. You're willing to bend down and allow someone else to, you know, like seriously, like if you're willing to do anything, if you're willing to unalive another person, you're willing to bend down to allow another person to do that, you know, to do, you know what I was going to say. Can't even say it on YouTube. But seriously, if you're like, okay, this is how things are, so we're going to start and one another and see who's going to win in the end. Like, nah, man. What you do is you build your communities. That's what's dope. You build your communities, make things actually work so that the future will be bright for your children. And stop blaming other people. Stop blaming other races. Stop blaming anyone. Blame yourselves. Because this thing of, hey, 400 yinini. Nah, man. Yeah, 400 years we've been treated like this and that. Like, chill. Don't say we. You don't know what it was like in the past. Say, okay, the messed up things have happened. How do we make things better now? Then, hey, they've ruined us. They've done this. They've done that. Nah, man. It doesn't help. I'm sorry for sounding like I'm not sensitive, but it doesn't help. It doesn't take us anywhere. You know, the whole thing is upside down. All right, we end up worshiping people for doing the wrong things. We end up loving people for doing the wrong things. We end up making people heroes for doing the wrong things. We end up selecting people to become our leaders for doing the wrong things. You know, the person just needs to dance or make jokes, and you'll be like, yeah, that person qualifies to be a president. But if a person is really intelligent and they really have good intentions and they really say the right things and they're intelligent, yeah, and they don't have money, they don't dance, you're like, nah, that one is boring. So who do we blame, bro? If you worship gangsters and don't worship people who really want to change your communities, who do we blame? Like, we need to be real. Yeah. We need to be real as people, because we have this thing of wanting to blame those who are above us, those who have power, as if they're the ones who should change us. Will they even be able to change us? Think about it. Will they be, like, if the Illuminati were like, you know what, we want to change these people and make them better, will they really be able to do that right now? No, they wouldn't be. Like, we are the ones who have to make the right choices, all right? We are the ones who have to save ourselves. It's you who has the power to save yourself. It's not your president, mayor, the celebrities that people be complaining about. Hey, celebrities shouldn't be allowed to say this, shouldn't be allowed. Nah, man. Let them say what they want to say. You know, we have to do what we have to do to be good.